Hey everybody, it's Amber with Chiloquin Unique. I'm going to be doing my sides of my everything soaps today, and they are safe, so we are good to go. They are almost all the way hard, and I do mine like this because I don't want my shavings to be wet. I want them to be pretty dry when I go to put them in this bowl and let them set for a little bit more. That way I can bag them up without them not able to be dry. And I do these when they are almost hard, so that way when I put my shavings to store, they're already dried. So there's a strategy to why I do mine later rather than earlier, like a lot of people. So they've really come out really nice. They haven't shrunk a whole lot, and they're huge, but that is still within my hand, so there you go. So they're still able to be handled really well because of the width of them. So they are really big, but they are still within a hand's width. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start planing, and I'm going to put the shavings into this bowl, and we'll store them and either sell them as is, or we will sell them, or we will use them for something else. Maybe when we go out to camp or something, you know, what we wash with is just our scraps, so no use in taking good soap out there. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get this started. You're going to see me do 3 sides, and then I'm going to bevel my edges. And a lot of people use those peelers or cheese slicers, and this is just something I got off of, I believe, Etsy. It's just an acrylic beveler. So, or a planer / beveler. That's what these grooves are in here. I don't know if you can see it, but there's grooves in there. And so this is just my good old trusty acrylic beveler that I love. I mean, if this breaks, I'm going to go ahead and get another one. So we're going to start. You got to keep your hands away. And what I'm trying to do is just even out my sides and get off any imperfections that are there. Sometimes, like, if you watch the previous videos in the making of this, you'll see there are kind of some air pockets, but I'm not worried too much. So you can kind of see that air pocket there, but it's pretty smooth. And we're going to go ahead and just let that one be as it wants to be. So we've done our 3 sides, and we bevel it. And I just run my corners in this groove across the blade. And there you go. A beveled edge, smooth sides. Very interesting soap. Different. And these will still cure for maybe 1 more week. And then I'll check their water weight, and we will see how much has evaporated. But they're good to be used now. We're just wanting to make sure we maximize our water weight. So I do have a line here, and this is kind of like those judgment calls you have to make. I don't know if you can see it, but it's actually right here in this layer. I don't think I'm going to worry about it. It's like a perfectly straight line, and we're going to go ahead and just leave it, because I don't want to take too much off of these soaps either. I don't want a lot of scraps. Now, I don't mind scraps because I use them, but and just kind of dust them off. So this one's pretty interesting. It's got some purple. And that's how you bevel soap. So you're going to let this sit for another week or 2 to make sure that it can get rid of any extra moisture. Alright, so we've planed the edges and we've beveled these edges, and what we can actually do now, if you have any kind of imperfections in the face of your soap, which is the biggest part, you can actually plane those off as well. So I'm going to show you quickly how to do that. You need to be careful with your hands though, because it's such a little space. It's only the width of your soap. So you're just going to keep your palm up, nice and smooth. Keep your palm up, nice and smooth. Oh. And look at how much more detail comes out when we plane them. But every now and then I'll have some that will kind of sink in the middle, creating kind of a divot. And that's when I will plane them to take it down my sides so that my middle will be the same height. Shrinking can occur with any soap. So it's one of those useful things to be able to do as well. You just have to really make sure that you're paying attention to where your hands are. Where is the blade? All the time. So it just cleans it up even more, because as it's drying, you know, anything can happen. Especially when you're doing an everything soap with soap shavings. And we don't want to have any unevenness. So these are all really good though. Maybe I will plane these just to kind of help these characters come out. So you see it now. And then when you plane it, you let more of the details come out. And everything soaps are supposed to be unique. They're supposed to be different. Because it's literally all of your soaps combined. All of the intentions behind all of your other loaves are in one soap. All the ingredients, all the amazing effort that you took is in one soap. So I guess it goes back to doing an everything soap. Watch my video on how I did one. And you know, just follow along with that, because it's the basics of doing a bar soap while being on the fly when you're adding solid things. And I was adding solid shavings. So, you know, you gotta just pay attention to what your soap needs. Like beadwork, again, I'm gonna take it back to beadwork because it really is one of those funny things that teaches you so much about how to create, you know? Beadwork is forgiving yet unforgiving. Soap is forgiving yet very unforgiving if you mess up your ingredients, or you mess up your technique, or you don't know why you're doing something. You know, you gotta know why you're doing anything. This is just for a cosmetic reason. There's no reason to plane any of these as a soap, but you know, they look good. We want to be proud of what we make, right? I love the size of these bars though. These bars are amazing. When you get to a one that is a little too deep, like it would just take too much planing, I'm just going to leave it, because obviously it wants to have it. Then I go to beveling. And you'll find your rhythm. And this is where the soap shavings will go, and they will just sit in here for, you know, a week or two and dry out further to make sure they're completely dry. And then I put them in a bag and I will set them aside, like I said, for another project or to sell, or as our own personal scraps. And I'll just get it wet with a little bit of alcohol. Probably can show you that. With a little bit of alcohol, and I can squeeze them together. We had more. Or a little bit of water, I guess, would work too. Alcohol's a little faster. And we create what we call, my family calls them, rock soaps. Funny story behind that, I'll tell you all someday. So, yep, and this is what we would take, and I kind of flatten them out. They would be much bigger, but I flatten them out just slightly, so they'll be easier to use. And rock soap. And it's just soap scraps. And I don't sell these because they're really ugly. Good soap though, and it keeps them together, so it makes my soap shavings usable. Like if you're not using your soap shavings or you're not selling them and you're just wasting them and throwing them away, you are making soap incorrectly. You need to find out a way to use every single thing that you make. That means even your scraps. They're not bad soap. These are just the uneven edges or maybe the blemishes of a bar of soap. So be careful with the waste because we are supposed to be reducing our carbon footprint. Soap is one of those things that we have to have, but we don't want to be creating waste either. So recycle, reuse, and reduce. So it is a very simple process when you stop fighting it. Alright, you guys have a wonderful day. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe. I appreciate you. Be unique.